Hi guys, Brain here. I was just having an interesting conversation in a Twitch stream, and I thought it'd be cool to have you guys in on that conversation. That's why my hair is wet, because I just got out of the shower and I was like, having this conversation in my friend's Twitch stream, and I just kind of wanted to bring you in on it because I think it'd be something cool for the channel. Because I was like, we're having a good conversation right now. I'm like, wait, I have a whole channel dedicated to good conversations. So. Why is it that the devs just like refuse to listen to the community? I think the underlying aspect that would be like the most like point and go, yeah, that is just kind of like they're out of touch with the game, right? And I think nobody really like argues with that. I don't think anybody thinks that behavior is like in touch with the game. I think that much is obvious by the fact that like they don't take the feedback of their fog whisperers that literally do very, very intense gameplay analysis and send it to them, and then like they don't do anything about it. I think that much alone shows us that like they don't really care too much about. I guess it's that they don't care. It's just like they don't want to put in the effort to really understand the game and change it in a way that would actually be healthy for longtime players. It's just kind of like like with any like popular game, it's just like what can we do to appease new players and try to bring in as many buys as possible and not as many stays as possible, if that makes sense. But I think like there's a community aspect to that like a lot of people miss, and it's a big reason as to like I think why that like they also would not be so inclined to listen is because we don't really know what we're doing or talking about either. Like I can sit here all day. And I have a whole channel where like my prime content is commentary, right? Like I talk about the game, and most of it is like changes to perks, negative changes to perks, positive changes to perks, gameplay styles that suck, gameplay styles that are good, Like I made a whole channel dedicated to like talking about these topics, right? But like even I don't have a good or best idea about the game. I like to try and think I do my best to understand the game from like both sides. And then like try to like make something that's like better for the game in terms of like the commentary and the things that I say. But obviously I'm a 70-30 killer. I'm very obviously a killer main. So like a lot of even if I try to be as unbiased as possible, I'm going to have natural bias just because I play killer more. That's just how it is. And I think the reason that it's like hard for the devs to listen to the community is because at least in terms of like our aspect or like our hand in that is that like a lot of us are like 100% biased, like 100%. Like I'm a 70-30 killer. Most people are just like straight up survivor mains or straight up killer mains, right? Like it's like 90-10, 95-5, like they are whatever side they're playing, they are like so intensely like into that side. And when you're that devoted to one side, you solely see the game through one side. I think some of the best comments that I get on my YouTube from you guys is like you guys that come in and you'll be like, oh, well, I used to be a survivor main, and I would be like, so like, oh, I can't believe you brought any slowdown at all. I can't believe you even brought corrupt. That's so cringe. And then I played killer and I realized it was a lot harder than I thought it was. Like those kind of comments like make my day, because that's you coming out of the bias fold. That's you coming out of the biased veil. You're like, wait a minute, I've seen the light. I've seen the world as it actually is and not the way that I solely have experienced it, And I think a majority of the community doesn't really do that, unfortunately. I think a majority of the community only plays one side, really doesn't like give too much thought to the other side, and then they want changes and improvements. Oh, I just smacked the mic. Improvements, quote unquote, to the game's design based on their side and their experience, and they don't really try to take both into account. I've heard plenty of this over the course of me, playing the game, which is almost 2 years at this point, which is kind of weird to think about. I've heard crazy things like killers should never have to run slowdown, and if it does, it means they're bad. Old DS, where you could DS anybody at any point for like 60 seconds after they came off, whether you were doing a gen or saving somebody, that was good. You should just slug forehead. Like I've heard a lot of like really, really like crazy like out there statements that weren't ironic. Like they weren't trying to like bait or troll. Like they meant it with their whole chest. And it's like, Of course those things are bad for the game, but like they meant it with their whole chest. Like they weren't memeing. It wasn't a joke. Like they straight up meant it. You know, like they straight up thought that was going to be good for the health of the game. Because they only play from one side and that's the only perspective that they know. And these aren't like brand new players, right? Because like if a brand new player makes like a really like out there statement, like for example, I played mostly just custom games when I first started playing the game in summer of 2020. And my friend Chance loved to play Oni. And while Oni is really strong, he's not OP. I thought Oni was OP. Like because, you know, when I didn't know how to hide or how to loop, having the blood track me right to me while I was injured felt like it was broken, right? It felt like it was OP. It felt like I was, and then he had the insta down and he was super fast. It just felt like I couldn't do anything. Like I had that opinion, but then I was like, I played the game and I was like, I'm like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. This character's really, really good, but he's not OP. And I didn't realize that until I actually started, you know, playing the game more. I actually started like playing the game and getting into the game. And then I understood like, oh, well, that was ridiculous of me to say. But like you can't hold it against new players because they haven't learned yet. And once they learn, they'll know. But like most of these statements that are like super crazy and super biased are coming from like really, really experienced players, like players with like 3, 4, 5,000 plus hours that are saying this really weird, crazy stuff. And it's just like, it makes me think it's like, we're always like, the community, the devs never listen to us. I'm like, hey, well, yes, they clearly don't care about listening to like the mid to high level players in the game. That as much as seen by them like overlooking the Fog Whisperer program and the hard work that a lot of those streamers do to try and like present information and plausible changes to the game. But also there is a community aspect to that like so much of the community is so wildly biased that like you can't listen to everybody. Like you can't. Like you really can't. You really can't listen to the community because like one person's saying that like we should be able to do gens even faster, and the other person's saying like there should be a way to like have 2 no-eds on the map. So there's just crazy stuff. There's just crazy stuff out there, and it's hard to sort through all that. So they just don't. They just don't. So I think we do ourselves a disservice by like willingly being like super biased, whether that be towards the killer or survivor side. So it makes it harder to like balance the game correctly in that regard as well. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this one. Hopefully that was like, I know I was a little bit rambly, but it is a rambling channel. Like that's my primary content. So if you're here and you are hearing me rambling and going, wow, this guy rambled a while, like, why are you here? You're in the wrong channel. But thank you so much for watching, friends. Like, comment, subscribe, Baroni, you know, all the wonderful stuff. We're almost at 1,000 subs, so that's pretty crazy. We're almost there. We're on the precipice, which is super, super cool. And I really appreciate all that work that you've done in that so far. And I was happy to include you in this conversation I was having. So thank you so much for watching, friends. I'll see you in the next video. And if I don't, I'll see you when I see you. Goodbye.